The third and final set in Magic the Gathering's Return to Ravnica block, Dragon's Maze, released on May 3rd, 2013. The 61st expansion in the collectible card game's history, it brought with it 156 cards, including a handful of reprints. Like the two previous sets in the block, Return to Ravnica and Gatecrash, along with the original Ravnica block from 2005, Dragon's Maze yet again focuses on the guild system that is so central to the plane of Ravnica. Unlike all previous sets that take place on the plane, however, Dragon's Maze did not focus on a handful of the setting's 10 guilds. Rather, it featured every single one of them, despite it being the smallest set in the block.
The problem we ran into was in a small set, the reason we make a large set to do 5 guilds is you really need a large set to flesh out 5 guilds. So to flesh out 10 guilds, in not a large set but a small set, you really end up with not a lot of room. It is very, very tight. It just was a lot. And that is why we don't normally do 10 factions. 10 factions is just a little bit too much outside of a high complexity set, which is not something we'll do in a normal Premier set.
But fitting 10 guilds into a smaller size set was not the only issue. There was another, even more glaring one, that simply gave the set bad optics.
We had so much to get in the set, it just wasn't easy to fit dragons in. And so I don't know if this set even had a dragon. It might have had one dragon, but I mean really, it wasn't about dragons. And so when they first pitched the name Dragon's Maze, we said, well, we can't call it Dragon's Maze. There aren't dragons in it. The funny thing is, the creative team at the time, who I think had come up with the name, kept saying, well, no, it's not dragons with an S. It's dragon apostrophe S. It's a certain dragon. It's not like a maze of dragons. It's this Dragon's Maze. And I'm like, no, I get it. It doesn't matter. You have dragon in the name. You can't have dragon in the name of a set and not have the audience go, ooh, dragons. And anyway, so we tried very hard to change the name of the set, and I lost, obviously, because it's called Dragon's Maze.
The story of Dragon's Maze is essentially the last bit of the Return to Ravnica storyline, which we summarized in our video for the set Return to Ravnica. And, like Gatecrash before it, there are also a handful of short stories posted on the Wizards of the Coast website that help flesh out the story and goings-on surrounding the implicit maze, guilds, and specific named characters. As for the Dragon's Maze set itself, it was sold in 16-card booster packs, 6 card boosters, 5 intro packs, 1 event deck, and a fat pack. Like Return to Ravnica and Gatecrash before it, Dragon's Maze also features guild-specific pre-release kits. Though that's roughly where the similarities end, as, unlike the previous 2 blocks in the set, each Dragon's Maze pre-release kit includes not just 4 Dragon Maze booster packs, but also a Secret Ally booster pack that contains cards of a guild that share one color of mana with the chosen guild. For example, if you chose a white-red Boros pre-release kit, your Secret Ally booster pack would be from any other guild that has either white or red mana in its color combination, such as white-blue Azorius, white-green Selesnya, white-black Orzhov, red-blue Izzet, red-black Rakdos, or red-green Gruul. Blue-green Simic, for example, could not be a secret ally of Boros, as its colors contain neither red nor white. Dragon's Maze's pre-release kits also moved away from each guild having its own pre-release promo as it had done for the previous 2 sets. Instead, each pre-release participant was given a foil, alternate art version of the card Maze's End. Other promotional cards associated with Dragon's Maze include a foil Plains, which was provided to anyone who participated in the pre-release's Implicit Maze side event. It is the only basic land to have the Dragon's Maze set symbol on it. Breaking and Entering, the set's launch promo. A full art Trostani's Summoner, the set's game day participant promo. A foil full arc Milik, Izzet Paragon, which was handed out to game day top 8 finishers. A special Dragon's Maze League Bird Creature token, and a foil alternate art Render Silent, which was the set's buy box promo. Each of the guild-specific mechanics and keyword abilities from the block's previous sets all return. Detain for Azorius, Cipher for Dimir, Unleash for Rakdos, Blood Rush for Gruul, Populate for Selesnya, Extort for Orzhov, Overload for Izzet, Scavenge for Golgari, Battalion for Boros, and Evolve for Simic. Beyond that, the set also brought back split cards, along with a new mechanic called Fuse that allows players to play both halves of the card rather than just pick one side or the other, as with previous split cards.
So what Fuse is normally when you have a split card, you cast card A or you cast card B. But Fuse says if a card has Fuse, you're allowed to cast both sides if you're able. We liked having the split cards in the set. It helped sort of feel, it gave it a little bit of a feel of original Ravnica that the previous two sets hadn't done, and it allowed us to introduce something that was pretty straightforward. I mean, we needed a mechanic that was fun but not complex, and Fuse did a good job of introducing that.
Split cards are spread out across 2 cycles. A cycle of 5 split cards at rare, with each half being specific to a different guild, such as with the card Catch and Release, having Izzet colors, blue-red, on one half, and Boros colors, red-white, on the other. A cycle of 10 cards, one for each guild at Uncommon, that had mono-colored halves, but, put together, formed one of the 2 color identities of one of Ravnica's guilds, such as the card Alive and Well, having a green and white half, but, when fused, has Selesnya colors. There are, of course, a number of other cycles in Dragon's Maze. Some of the more notable ones include a cycle of Gatekeeper cards at Common that are all 2/4 creatures that cost 4 mana, 3 plus 1 of that card's color, and have an Enter the Battlefield triggered ability that happens if its controller has at least 2 gates in play at the time. Maze Elementals, a cycle of mono-colored creatures at Common that cost 6 mana apiece, and provide an extra ability to all multicolored creatures you control. Maze Runners, which, storyline-wise, represent each guild's participant in the implicit maze, and are each rare legendary creatures. And Clue Stones, which are 3 costed artifacts at Common that can tap for either of its respective guild's colors, or be sacrificed to draw a card. And of course, all 10 of the Guild Gate cards that were introduced over the course of Return to Ravnica and Gatecrash return. Beyond the cycles, there are some singles in Dragon's Maze that are worth a mention, starting with all 10 Shocklands, which could show up here and there in Dragon's Maze booster packs, though with the respective set's set symbol on them rather than the Dragon Maze symbol. Master of Cruelties, a creature that deals no combat damage when it hits a player, but instead reduces that player's life total to 1. Maze's End, an alternate win card that cares about gates. Putrefy, an anti-artifact and creature spot removal spell that was first printed in the original Ravnica block set, Ravnica City of Guilds. And Voice of Resurgence, a card that, at one time, was considered to be a tournament quality card in Standard and Modern, as an aggressive answer to control decks and control strategies. As for the reception of Dragon's Maze, it received a mixed response at best, with some players and Magic the Gathering writers completely panning the set.
We really kind of gave the Dragon Maze design team a really difficult challenge, more so than I think we realized. Looking back with 2020 hindsight, and I want to stress that this is not. I think the design team did a great job. Alexis and her team worked very hard. I think a lot of the problems on Dragon's Maze was in the structure. So this was on me. I did this. This was not Alexis. This was not her team. Although I will say this, I'm always happy that we try things, even when we do something and it ends up not quite working out. Like, a lot of great Magic things came about because we were pushing boundaries. But part of pushing boundaries is, hey, not everything's going to work out. I'm happy we tried Dragon's Maze. And I do want to stress once again, none of these faults really fall on the design team. I think the design team did an amazing job with the constraints that I gave them of, hey, it's a set with all the guilds of this size, and wrap it up, and that was just a really daunting challenge.
So what are your thoughts on Dragon's Maze? Do you believe the set to be as underwhelming as many who play the game seem to think? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. Also, please like this video and subscribe to Magic Untapped, and toss a buck in our Patreon tip jar if you are feeling so generous. Thank you for watching.